Gary, that was the most interesting debate with Dr. Anthony Flew. All right, I enjoyed that. But what I want the folks to understand is you presented 12 historical facts in that debate. And the world's leading atheist at that time for 40 years, he says, oh yeah, those are true facts. I want to go through those facts because all of these facts, there's been a fight on each one of these to bring scholars over the line where they're at today, okay? Let's take them in order, okay? First of all, Jesus died by crucifixion. There's a lot of people in the world that still do not believe that Jesus actually was crucified. What's the latest on this?
Well, I mean, it depends on how far back you want to go, but I like to think of, let's talk about three scholars and what they say. Two of the co-founders of the Jesus Seminar, John Dominic Crossan, Marcus Borg, both of them, in very similar words, said they considered the crucifixion of Jesus to be the most secure fact either in the life of Jesus or the most secure fact in the ancient world.
Right.
So very secure. John Dominic Crossan even gives some data that evangelicals frequently use in apologetics. He's saying, oh, asphyxiation, spear wound. He's even talking like that. But more recently, I think harder hitting, Paul Meyer, the retired distinguished professor of ancient history, Western Michigan University, Paul said, in the ancient world, many historical events are established by one source, and two or three make an event impregnable. All right, now let's go crucifixion. And who's our source? Bart Ehrman. How many independent sources for the crucifixion? Bart Ehrman lists 15. Now, he may have a list that's longer somewhere else, but I found several of his lists, and the one with the most is 15, and 4 of them are sources not even found in the New Testament.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one other question, though, and that has to do with the fact of some people say, well, he didn't really die. And I want to say, if you're a Roman soldier and you have done multiple crucifixions, okay, sure, what are the physical things that you're looking at that made you certain that the person on the cross was actually dead? Give me the physical description here.
Okay, well, let's say that the Marcus Borg, John Dominic Crossan, Ehrman comments get us on the cross. Now let's ask, did the cross finish him? Do we know he was dead before he got off? That he was there is solid. 15 independent sources, that's incredible. Now, how do we know? Now you could say, well, Roman soldiers, they didn't take anatomy classes, but they knew where in battle you would stab somebody to get them to drop faster than anybody else. But you could still say, the guy was drunk. I mean, you can say anything you want to, but there are several indications that Jesus did not get off the cross alive. Here's one. I think of all the ways Jesus could have died, outside of maybe beheading, outside of all the ways he could have died, crucifixion is fail-safe in this sense, that the leading explanation for death on the cross is still death by asphyxiation. So you push up to breathe, you sink down because of gravity, and it's very painful in your nails in your feet, and you begin asphyxiating again. By the way, even John Dominic Crossan talks about this process again. So if he's low on the cross for any amount of time, you can be a drunk Roman soldier, and you can look up and see he's low and he hasn't moved for 30 minutes. Well, that's like saying, well, how do you know he's not faking? Okay, why don't you hold your breath for a half hour underwater and let's see what shape you're in. I mean, if he's down there at the bottom and can't breathe, the evidence says he's not breathing. That's number one. We know from a number of ancient sources that they did death blows to make sure the person wasn't faking. One person, they crucified him, they crushed his skull because they got tired of waiting and they moved on. Another one gets threatened with a bow and arrow. But we do have a Roman source that talks about piercing with the spear. We also have the breaking of the ankles. Why do they break ankles? So that you can't push up again. So hanging low equals death, pretty clear. We have other reasons, like, for example, the famous David Strauss critique, which is, what shape would he be in coming off the cross? Not good. We had a phrase in the 60s. We used to say, death warmed over. And that's what a crucifixion victim would look like, pretty bad shape. And as David Strauss said, if Jesus struggles forth from the tomb and tries to appear to his disciples. And he's limping and he's bleeding and he's pale and he's holding his side and he's worked the wound open again. And you might convince the disciples you're alive because you're talking, but you wouldn't convince them that you were raised. Alive and raised are two different things. So crucifixion guarantees that you couldn't be raised. So there's a lot of indications. If he's up there, he either didn't get down alive or wouldn't convince anybody he was raised.
All right.